I learned a new skill every day for a week. This is the first time I've ever done this, and it was actually crazy. It was very hard, but there are some superpowers that come from learning a new skill every day. And by the end of the week, I can say with an absolute certainty that if you do this, it will change your life. Day 1, learning to juggle. Now, juggling has been something I wanted to learn for a very long time now. Whenever I see someone juggling, I always think, damn, I wish I could do that. So finally, I decided to take the time to learn it. Now, it took me a few hours on and off throughout the day, but by the end of the day, I did it. I could juggle 5 balls. When you want to learn something like this, my recommendation is to not only watch tutorial videos, but also find a teacher in person. It makes a huge difference. Even though I still have a lot to work on, I was pretty happy with what I could do after just one day of learning. The first superpower that I started to notice from learning a new skill every day is that you get a sense of accomplishment. You feel more motivated. Now, I don't know about you, but when I learn a new skill, it gives me a huge confidence boost. It motivates me, and it gets me excited. At the end of each day, I was feeling so much better because I got to check off something that I never thought I could do. Day 2, speed reading. Speed reading is something I've wanted to learn for a very long time because I love to read. I love to learn. But at the same time, I always feel like I don't have enough time to read. I started to look into speed reading. There are a lot of resources out there. And what I did was I read one book on how to speed read, and then I went to practice on another book. I wasn't able to go super fast right away, but by the end of the day, I could definitely tell that I was getting faster and I was retaining almost all the information. If you guys are interested in learning how to speed read, let me know in the comments and I'll make a whole video on it. The second superpower is that your creativity starts to expand. You start to see things in a different way. For example, when I learned how to cook, that opened up a whole new world of creativity for me. I can take different ingredients and turn them into something delicious. That's pretty cool. I also found that when I learned how to play an instrument, that opened up a whole new world of creativity. I can listen to a song, and then I can play it on my instrument. Learning new skills can really help you to be creative in different ways. Day 3, cooking. Cooking is something that I've wanted to learn for a very long time because I love to eat. More importantly, I love to explore different cultures through their food. So I decided to learn how to cook one of my favorite dishes, which is pad thai. I followed a recipe, and by the end of the day, I made myself a delicious meal. I didn't make the best pad thai in the world, but hey, I made it. The third superpower is that you become more confident. The more skills you learn, the more confident you become. And it's understandable because when you learn a new skill, you gain a sense of accomplishment. You feel like you can do anything. When I learned how to surf, that gave me so much confidence. I remember the first time I caught a wave. I was like, oh my God, I can surf. Of course, I fell a lot, but I got back up every time. And after a while, I was catching wave after wave. That gave me so much confidence. And the same thing happens every time you learn a new skill. Day 4, public speaking. Public speaking is something I've wanted to learn for a very long time because I love to talk. I love to share my thoughts and ideas. But at the same time, I was always very shy, and I was afraid of what others would think of me. But I decided to take the time to learn how to speak in public. I watched a lot of videos, I read a lot of books, and I practiced in front of a mirror. By the end of the day, I could definitely tell that I was getting better. I was more confident and I was more comfortable speaking in front of groups of people. The fourth superpower is that you become more adaptable. The more skills you learn, the more adaptable you become. This is because when you learn a new skill, you learn how to learn. You become more open to new experiences and you become more comfortable with change. Day 5, dancing. Dancing is something I've always wanted to learn, but I was too shy to take classes. But I decided to take the plunge and I signed up for a beginner dance class. I was a little nervous at first, but everyone in the class was super nice, and by the end of the day, I had learned a few basic steps. The fifth superpower is that you become more disciplined. This is because when you learn a new skill, you have to practice. You have to put in the reps, and by doing this, you develop discipline. You become more focused, and you become more determined. Day 6. Playing an instrument. Playing an instrument is something I've always wanted to learn, but I never had the time or the interest. But I decided to give it a shot, and I started to learn the piano. I was a little frustrated at first because it's not easy to learn an instrument, but I stuck with it, and by the end of the day, I could play a few simple songs. The 6th superpower is that you become more patient. This is because when you learn a new skill, it takes time. You have to put in the reps and you have to be patient. You can't expect to be good at something right away. Day 7, photography. Photography is something I've always been interested in, but I never had the time or the knowledge to learn it. But I decided to take the plunge, and I bought a camera. I spent the day learning the basics of photography, and by the end of the day, I took some photos that I was actually proud of. The 7th superpower is that you become more fulfilled. This is because when you learn a new skill, you have something to show for it. You have a tangible item that you can be proud of. You can look back and see how far you've come. Overall, I had a great time learning a new skill every day for a week. It was challenging, but it was definitely worth it. I learned so much about myself and I gained superpowers that will help me for the rest of my life. If you want to do this yourself, I recommend that you set aside 1 hour every day to learn a new skill. It doesn't seem like a lot of time, but trust me, it's enough time to make progress and see results. Also, make sure to choose a skill that you're passionate about. If you're not interested in the skill, you're not going to stick with it. So make sure to choose something that you're excited about. Finally, don't get discouraged if you don't see results right away. Learning a new skill takes time and practice, so just stick with it and eventually you'll be a pro. Now, I want to hear from you guys. What are some of the skills that you've learned recently? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what you guys have been learning. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. It really helps out a lot. And finally, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.